let's hop into the news. So the first bit of news we're going to be talking about is Injustice 2. There was a new story trailer that came out. Injustice 2, the sequel to everyone's beloved DC NetherRealm's fighting game, comes out later this year. It was a pretty interesting trailer. I want to get your guys' feedback on it. It was a story trailer. So the first Injustice centered around basically a broken hero in Superman. And, you know, the people loved the comics for Injustice. They loved him quite a bit. This story trailer seems to be, in my opinion, pitting Batman as the bad guy in some essence, because you see Batman and basically there's a line of dialogue basically saying that he turns his back on what he once defended, and it shows Harley Quinn beating somebody to death, and then he just turns off the monitor. So it seems like he's going to be pitted as the bad guy, or at least it's going to be him versus Superman and Supergirl. That's what it seems like to me. It seems like, obviously, at the end of the trailer, you see Brainiac's kind of controlling everything, so he's probably going to be the primary villain. You get a pre-order bonus at Darkseid, which is interesting. Something that's not included in the trailer, but something that I thought was cool, is that every version of the game has a different cover. I don't know if you guys saw this. So the standard edition of the game has Superman, the deluxe edition has Supergirl, and the ultimate edition has Batman. And the whole point of this game is the gear you get onto your guys. Like, that's a whole thing, is make your hero, right? And the Batman cover has him with the kryptonite running through his suit. Supergirl has
very
some cool
look. I love that look.
Yeah. And then Superman's obviously has him wearing stuff too. But yeah, I want to get your guys' opinion on this. It looks cool. I didn't play the first Injustice. I know a little bit about the story. This really intrigues me though, because I like superhero games, and I don't know if I'll buy this because I'm not very good at fighting games, but I definitely probably going to watch
fighting. It's really not like a superhero game in the way we define that genre. You know, it's really a fighting game, and so
it's a fighting game with superheroes.
Right. So, yeah, and then a big thing about Injustice, the series, seems to be its story, more than other fighting games by far. And, you know, they got this whole comic. The comic's supposed to be amazing, so I've got the Ultimate Edition through PS Plus on PS4, and so I've tried playing it a little bit. I need to get back into it. Of course, you know, it's a fighting game, and it's not something we're all really used to. Like, I could probably pick up and play a sports game way easier just because I played those as a kid, you know.
Same.
Fighting game, it's like you really have to know what you're doing there, and so I need to spend some time getting into that, but I'd like to go through the comic and go through the first game, because supposedly the story's really cool for Injustice. And, you know, of course, I'm a big DC fan, so why would I not want a great DC story?
Yeah, I'm with you guys too. I don't play pretty much have never played a fighting game outside of Super Smash Brothers. But I, of course, love not necessarily DC, but Batman in particular. So that trailer and the emphasis on the story, that has me intrigued. And given that this is going to come out in May, the timing may work out where I might pick this up.
Yeah. Well, you were speculating about who kind of the villain is, Jared, and talking about being a DC fan. Like, my favorite DC stories are where they kind of just scrap the whole, 70 years of possible canon and lore that they could draw from, and just make something totally different, which is exactly what Injustice, the original game, was, where Superman, like, Joker kills Lois Lane, I think, so Superman just goes ape shit, and he, like, turns tyrant on Earth, and it's just fucking awesome from a story standpoint, like just a little plot blurb. It sounds so great, so I'd really like to dig in there.
I don't think I'll ever go back and play Injustice. I got it on backwards compatibility, or I got it somehow. I have it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll play through just because I'm so bad at fighting games, and I don't feel like doing the thing where, you can sit through a couple of matches of losing, and then it makes it super easy and you can get through. Honestly, I think I'm just going to go to YouTube and watch all the cutscenes for the first Injustice. Not
a bad idea. I love, there's plenty of games that I do that for, because it's like, I don't want to play this game, but I do want to experience this story, so why not?
Exactly. One of the big stories that came out recently after the Switch event is people weren't sure if Nintendo's been really cagey about their support for 3DS. They probably still want people to buy 3DSs, and they want to supply new games for them, right? So people are kind of worried about how exactly they're going to support the Switch. And we have an interesting story by way of Polygon. So our boy Reggie, Nintendo of America's president, had an interview with Polygon, And he basically stated, from a first-party standpoint, there's no new development coming after the launch of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We really are at the end of life for Wii U. So he essentially just came out
talking about Wii U. I thought he was saying for Switch. I was like, Jesus Christ.
No, he's literally coming out and saying that Breath of the Wild is going to be the last first-party game developed for Wii U. He also states, from our standpoint, sunsetting is quite some time into the future. The ongoing activity from an online standpoint on Mario Kart and Splatoon is significant. We're going to continue to support those. So he's basically saying, like, if you currently own a Wii U, chill. Earlier, I was saying 3DS. I meant to say Wii U. That's my fault. I minced my words. But yeah, so it's interesting here. They're coming out clearly stating that they're ending first-party support on the Wii U. Is this surprising to you guys, or is this expected? Like, normally Nintendo would be more cagey about this, right? I don't really remember them being this clear and defined, you know?
Yeah,
so.
I'm glad they're just getting that out of the way, and that's something that needs to be said because of the situation that they're in with how, poorly the Wii U did. So, yeah, I'm glad it's out of the way.
Yeah, no surprises.
I think this also kind of leans more towards the fact that at least we hope that there's going to be a lot of those ports from Wii U to Switch that people didn't get to play because no one bought a Wii U. So I really hope that they kind of, they fill in the gaps throughout the rest of the year to year and a half from now with the ports of the games, or maybe just release them all at once or something. But I think it's good that they're kind of drawing their line in the sand, and they're like, yeah, we're stopping first-party support for the Wii U, so I don't think this is a common thing of it releasing both on Wii U and the Switch. So I think that's really interesting. The last bit of news here, there was a Nintendo Direct, a Fire Emblem Nintendo Direct. It was pretty well done. It only lasted about 20 minutes, so short and to the point. I'm going to go over some of the key things here, and we can chime in about what's the most interesting parts of it. So first off, it was actually narrated by Yuri Lowenthal. For those of you who don't know, he's a pretty accomplished voice actor. He's done voices in Titanfall 2. He's done voices in Final Fantasy 15. He was Marth in Fire Emblem Fate. So he has ties to Nintendo. And he's actually, I was looking at his IMDb, Jordan and I were talking about this before the show, he's going to be Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the PS4 game, the Insomniac game. So, look for him, he's a very good voice actor. Very good. So yeah, I just want to throw that out because I think he's a very good voice actor, and it's cool to hear him narrating it. First, this isn't in order of announcements. This is just, I think, in order of importance. So the first thing was Fire Emblem Warriors. We saw this at the Switch event by Koei Tecmo. It's the Dynasty Warriors meets Fire Emblem game. They actually showed additional scenes that weren't in the actual trailer, and I believe it was Chrom that was involved. A lot of people's, one of their favorite Fire Emblem characters. This is set for fall 2017. I don't think anybody's surprised by this. This is cool, but this is for people who like those type of games. This is a weird niche group of people who like Fire Emblem and like Koei Tecmo Muso games. So I'm not really interested in it because I don't like those games. But it's cool that Fire Emblem is having an involvement in all of these. It's not just Zelda and Mario, right? They're kind of launched Fire Emblem out there to make it a real brand. It seems like it's been around for a while, but it's not the Marios or the Zeldas, and I don't think it'll ever be that. But I think they're sticking a tent pole in the ground and saying Fire Emblem is a franchise we want to make bigger. So that's cool. I don't know if you guys have anything to say about Fire Emblem Warriors. I doubt it strikes either your fancy.
I really wish we just had a fucking Fire Emblem game for launch, like a real, strategy, full-blown RPG on the console. Why is that not a thing?
Yeah. Speaking of that, the next announcement, and this is probably it's good and bad news to you because obviously
it'll answer your question.
But yeah, Fire Emblem for Nintendo Switch is actually currently in development. It's going to be coming out. It's planned for 2018 release, and it's the first console Fire Emblem that's going to be out since 2007's Radiant Dawn for the Wii. Which there's your full-fledged console Fire Emblem, which I'm excited for. That's a game I definitely want to get. And some people are like, I saw some murmurs of like, it's weird that they're not even showing anything for this. There's no way it's going to come out in 2018. Fire Emblem games aren't very intensive when it comes to making them. They have a really quick turnaround. So I don't doubt for a second that, it might not come out in 2018, but I'm not surprised if it does. Like, their development window isn't that long for a Fire Emblem game. So, also, we don't know how long it's been in development either. So maybe it's just not at the point where they want to show off stuff, Plus, all this other Fire Emblem stuff, there's no point or no need to show it off, right? The next announcement here is Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, which is inspired by Fire Emblem 2, which is Fire Emblem Gaiden. It comes out May 19th, so it comes out relatively soon. Alm and Celica are the two new main characters for the game, and they have 2 amiibos that are coming out too that look really awesome, really well done. This game looks cool. This is a game that I think kind of pads out the Switch and the 3DS. I don't think it's a crazy good game. It looks a little archaic in its controls and stuff like that, but
it's just 3DS, right?
What is it? Yeah, wait.
It's eventually coming to Switch. Yeah, it's a 3DS game. It's eventually coming to Switch, yeah.
Okay. And did you say this is a re-release of an older Fire Emblem?
No, it's heavily inspired. It's heavily inspired by Gaiden. So it's kind of like the new Ratchet and Clank. That's the best way to describe it. So it holds true to the original game, but as far as graphics, yeah, essentially, yes. It looks really cool. It mixes 3D exploration with the traditional Fire Emblem fighting and some new mechanics that were only in Gaiden that kind of made it made it really unique in the series. So that looks very interesting. I don't know if it's a game I'll pick up because it's not a super traditional Fire Emblem, but it looks really cool. So there's that.
So that's interesting because that was one of my. I couldn't get an answer to that question before I bought Fire Emblem Fates earlier. To the question of like, what is going on between each of those battles? Like, are you exploring a world? Like, what is the deal? And no one seemed to have that answer. It was weird.
Yeah.
But the answer is there's nothing. There's one little tiny hub town. Not even a town. It's just your castle that you're in when you're not, going through a cutscene or a battle, and that's it. So yeah. I thought that was weird. That's actually kind of the part I liked the least about the game. I wish you could actually walk around the world. So this actually sounds interesting.
Dom wants some environmental exploration, bruh.
It's kind of odd when you think about it. Like, you're just going from cutscene to cutscene to battle to battle. It's just a weird structure, but
yeah, and the game doesn't look necessarily really good. I mean, it looks good for a 3DS handheld, but now that we're in post-Switch world, it looks kind of rough, but to each their own. Some people are going to get excited. I guarantee there's some Fire Emblem fans out there that Gaiden is their favorite game, and they're like, oh, it's inspired by it. So the biggest announcement, I think, for all of us here is Fire Emblem Heroes, which is the mobile game that we've been hearing so much about. There was this in development. There's an Animal Crossing, and I believe there's one more. So we still don't know what the Animal Crossing mobile game is. And there's Mario, obviously, Super Mario Run. So essentially, this is their mobile game. It's true to Fire Emblem. It's 8x6 vertical game, traditional Fire Emblem mechanics and gameplay. Also, it's coming out February 2nd in the Direct. It stated that it was coming first to Android and iOS soon. About an hour after the Direct, there was a couple interviews Nintendo held where they essentially said it's actually coming simultaneously everywhere. And they kind of explained that there was just poor messaging on their part, and they didn't update it or something. But they confirmed that it is coming simultaneously to both on February 2nd. They also, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, they actually launched this event, which is Choose Your Hero, which you go to the Fire Emblem Heroes website, and you get to actually choose which hero you feel should be promoted when the game comes out. And there's a ton of Fire Emblem characters. There's Marth, Roy, Ike, Lynn, Lily, anybody you can think of. If you know Fire Emblem, there's tons of characters that you can vote for and share it on social media and stuff like that. So that's a cool little interactive thing to hold people over till the game comes out. But the big stuff here.
This is what we need. This is the type of mobile game I need from these Nintendo franchises. I don't, the Pokemon Go, I get it. It's a phenomenon or whatever, but I think people would still be playing it if it was essentially a mobile version of, a Pokemon RPG that we're familiar with.
Yeah.
And so this is, a familiar version of Fire Emblem, but on mobile, and so I'm very excited. This is great. And I've been I'm not really looking, but totally wanting a game like this on mobile as opposed to these super greedy microtransaction games or Clash of Clans. It's just basic, and it's not real strategy. So
yeah, and I personally don't really like mobile games either, because they feel like mobile games. I know it's weird to say, but this game, though it is a mobile game, it has enough of a connection and gameplay style to a quote unquote real game that I like the Fire Emblem games a lot. So I think it's gonna do solid, and I think this is closer to the essence of Fire Emblem than Super Mario Run is to Mario, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we're going to go over some features real quick. So it features new and old characters. So there's going to be characters you've never seen before in Fire Emblem that are new to Fire Emblem Heroes, and there's going to be all your traditional characters we've talked about. There's a character star system. So characters can be rated 1 to 5 stars, and the higher stars they are, the rarer they are, and the more powerful they are. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But while leveling up your characters, you can upgrade their rarity. So you don't have to go super into the microtransactions and try to get, a 5-star Ike. If you have a 2-star Ike and you train him hard enough, and you can upgrade him to be a 5-star. So you can accomplish anything that you want in game without spending a single dollar, which is the best way to do microtransactions. The orbs unlock new characters. So there's these orbs, which are these consumables you get, and you use those to buy new characters. So essentially you'll get a roundup of the different elements from Fire Emblem, your fire, your air, and they'll be on a little thing, and you spend your orbs to unlock one. The more orbs you use, heroes become cheaper and cheaper, and the more you get at one time, it becomes cheaper and cheaper. Orbs can be earned in-game, or they can be bought. That's a big microtransaction hook of this game. You can buy orbs for $1.99, $4.99, yada yada yada. And the more characters you unlock, like I said, the lower the amount of orbs you need to use to unlock more heroes is. So it seems to me, from what we've seen, obviously we won't know until the game actually comes out, they're handling microtransactions right. This is a free-to-play game. They needed a way to make money, and I think they're handling it right. As long as it's balanced correctly with how quickly you can earn orbs versus buying them, I think it's going to be really good. I know you were recently introduced to the Fire Emblem series. How excited are you for this, Dom? Do you think the microtransactions are being, serviced correctly? Like, what's your thoughts on this?
It sounds like it could work, because I was worried at first when you first said free-to-play. I thought, it's probably going to be some garbage, whereas, although I don't like the look of Super Mario Run, I like the pricing structure they went with. But this sounds a lot more like Fallout Shelter, if you remember that, where you can play the game.
Lunch boxes.
Right, you can play the game, and you can at no point feel like you ever have to buy anything. Like, the game actually, that particular example, it's better if you don't buy anything. Apparently, people complained when they bought the lunch boxes too much. The game became too easy too quickly, and then it kind of just fizzled out because you had done everything, I guess. But I thought that was perfect, because I never bought any of those lunch boxes, and it never felt like I had to. It never felt like they were just trying to, grind me into dropping $1 for one of those. So I think that's what this sounds like, and hopefully that's the case. But this game in general, I'm really excited for this, because it's another perfect Nintendo franchise for a mobile game. The only one better, I think, is going to be Animal Crossing, which is perfect for mobile. And I hope that shapes up to kind of what I want it to be too. But yeah, this Fire Emblem Heroes, I'm excited, and it's coming out in just a couple weeks now. So.
Yeah, and also the great thing is it mixes two things that people love about Fire Emblem's art, which is the sprites, excuse me, as well as the very anime, really beautiful art too.
Right.
I think it's really well made. So I think we're all on board, right? I think we're all super stoked.
I mean, it's free, so.
Yeah, exactly. Fire Emblem Heroes. Hopefully it's good. It's going to be a mobile game.
Please be excited for E3.
Yeah.